Thank you. Chair recognizes Representative Cammack for 5 minutes to ask your questions.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you to our witnesses for being here today. I am very proud to have one of our own from the great free state of Florida here testifying before our committee. So thank you, Sheriff. I'd be remiss if I didn't say, go Gators. I know, those are fighting words. But as everyone in this room knows, FirstNet was created after 9/11 to fix a deadly failure. First responders can't do their jobs if they can't communicate. Congress has responded by helping build a nationwide public safety network with priority and preemption when lives are on the line. By many measures, FirstNet has delivered. It serves tens of thousands of agencies, spans millions of square miles, and has proven its value during disasters. And that success is exactly why Congress must reauthorize it before its authority expires in 2027. But reauthorization shouldn't be on autopilot. Outages, coverage gaps, especially in rural areas, and Inspector General findings show that performance must come with accountability and action. So this bill, this discussion draft, it strengthens oversight, improves outage reporting, clarifies responsibility, and ensures that FirstNet keeps evolving. When accountability is clear, public safety is stronger. So I'm going to start with you, Sheriff. You've emphasized that FirstNet works best when investments are driven by real operational needs. You and I have discussed, for example, in my district, that the overwhelming majority of my sheriffs are not on FirstNet. My husband, who is a first responder and a user of FirstNet, was unable to utilize his service during the last 3 major hurricanes. Now, I know that there have been challenges in deployment, but can you briefly detail how, through our conversations and conversations you've had with others, that we can make FirstNet work for all of our rural sheriffs and disaster-prone areas? Specifically, what reinvestment needs to happen?
Thank you for that question, Representative, and thank you for your work on this because I know your personal interest and that it matters. And I'll use your district specifically. You know, we went back and held a coverage workshop there in, I think, August of this last year and said, you know, listening to our firefighters, MES first responder, where can we increase the coverage, what needs to be done? I think something like 15 sites have been added in the last year and a half in that district, but that doesn't mean it's going to be perfect. And it certainly doesn't mean the districts farther down south. So if I'm in Lafayette County or Gilchrist County, which are extremely rural counties, there may need more than that 1 site or 2 sites. We're going to have to continue to do that. So I think it's incumbent upon us at the authority to ensure that we keep these workshops going, we keep the field reps going, and we prioritize based on the immediacy of need and where we identify these problems.
Well, and that's a great way to dovetail into the next question about interoperability. So there's some discussion within this language today that there needs to be a concerted effort towards interoperability for different services, particularly in disaster situations. Can you speak to that?
Yeah, I think the clearly, you know, obviously right now I could call you on, you know, I could use my FirstNet phone and call you on a Verizon or T-Mobile. So you have that level of interoperability. You also, they have developed the ability to talk over land mobile radio as well too, the push to talk if you do that. I think some of the new product that is coming forward, the technology is clearly working toward that. That is the final singularity of goal, is that we have one ring to rule them all. And from a standpoint of a unified command, you knew I would work in Lord of the Rings here at some point. There has to be a unified command. There shouldn't be any question about this working and ability to work during that.
Excellent, thank you. I'm going to shift to you. Is it Dom or Dame?
Dame.
Dame.
Yep.
Like hot Dame. Okay. Just kidding, it's a joke.
Notre Dame.
Okay, all right, we're going to talk about that later. So you've talked about a lot, today quite a bit about the blurred lines of authority. Under the current structure, who is currently responsible for enforcing contract performance, and why hasn't that always worked in practice? That's the first part. But then how would making, this is the critical part, how would making FirstNet a clearer line office within NTIA improve the day-to-day oversight and accountability?
Yep, and thank you, Congresswoman, for your leadership on public safety communications. It's the murkiness and the ambiguity of the independent authority within NTIA that's caused the issue. And there are dedicated mission-driven staff at the FirstNet Authority who are working on these issues, who cared very much about making sure the first responders have the network they need. But we think that with the proposed changes in the draft discussion text, that having the FirstNet Authority move over as a line office of NTIA, there'd be greater enhancements.
Well, and because my time is running short, I just want to highlight H.R. 1519, the Public Safety Communications Act, which would formally establish the Office of Public Safety within NTIA. It would cut the red tape, create a single point of oversight for FirstNet. Do you agree that that would be helpful in establishing greater ability to be flexible for FirstNet, but oversight at the same time?
I do. I think there need to be some reconciliations between the two bills, but yes, ma'am.
And Sheriff, would you agree?
Apologize. I believe there'd be delineated lines of authority, so there's no question about the ambiguity of who is doing what.
Excellent. I appreciate y'all's feedback today, and with that, I yield back.
Thank you. And keeping it in Florida, I'll recognize Representative Castor for 5 minutes to ask her question.
Thank you, Chairman Hudson and Ranking Member Matsui. Yes, we're rich in Floridians on the committee, and thank